Hey everyone, welcome to week 9. This is Professor Malat. There are a few things that I want to go over with you in this overview video. So let me share my screen here. Here is week 9. We'll take a look at the learning outcomes. It's pretty much a repeat of what we had the following week. We're just getting things ready, working on the rough draft, working on Works Cited, learning about MLA citation and formatting, learning about argumentative writing, and learning about counter arguments. So let's go to the next page here. This is the overview section. This week, there's a lot of assigned reading in our textbook, and it's just that there's a lot of information that needs to be covered. So I need to share something with you. Just give me a moment here. Okay, I want to call up our e-text here. So let me get a new share going. Hopefully this is up for you. So yeah, you're reading chapters 6.3 and 6.4, which deal with persuasive paragraphs supporting your claim. Last week, you read about making claims in your researched argument, and also learning about counter argument. And I'll talk a little bit more about counter argument in a moment, but here you're writing paragraphs to support your claim, and in 6.4 we have, wow, this is long. Write, ooh, come on, hurry up. Write a persuasive conclusion. So I wanted to make sure that all of your body paragraphs were addressed before you actually went and got started on your rough drafts. So that's that. That is our reading. What else do we have for our readings? Sorry about that. Chapter 11 explains how to integrate ideas from sources, synthesize information, use signal phrases, and incorporate quotations, paraphrases, summaries to support your claims. So essentially how you're supposed to integrate that researched information into your research argument. Chapter 12 gives information about counterclaims, counter arguments, and opposing views within your essay. Is that right? For some reason, I feel like that's not right, but so last week you learned about crafting your thesis statement and qualifying your claims. This week, I want you to focus on tightening your argument, and that's chapter 12, right? Chapter 12 is tightening your argument, reevaluating your sources, anticipate and address competing claims. So counter arguments are they're included in your argumentative writing so that you can show that you are giving kind of a balanced look at things. So you're not just representing your side. But the thing with the counter argument is you need to make a concession, but you also need to refute that argument so that your own writing and your own stance comes through very solid and very clear and very strongly. So where you put your counter argument in your essay is really a matter of choice. You could get it up front, out of the way, right after the introduction and background information. You may start with, while some people think whatever the opposing viewpoint is, while some people think this, I still think that my own viewpoint, you're not going to write it that way, but you would write it in such a way that you are expressing that your viewpoint is really the right viewpoint, and it's the one to go with. And your job throughout that paper is trying to persuade your audience to see your way of looking things. So the thing with the counter argument is that you don't want to come out and say this person is dead wrong and they're an idiot, right? You want to be able to say it in such a way that it's respectful, yet you're still pointing out where that person got wrong in their line of thinking. So you make a counter argument by having several things. You have, hold on a second. Okay, I keep thinking of things that I need to share with you that I haven't pulled up. So I've not planned this video very carefully, but here we go. So Purdue OWL has a section on rebuttal sections in your paper, and this is something that you would do with your counter argument, which is the counter argument is presenting the opponent's viewpoint, right? So there are 3 things that you include in the rebuttal. You pay attention, you give a nod to the opponent's argument. Usually don't assume that your reader has read or remembered the argument that you're refuting. So you need to state accurately and fairly the main points of the argument that you are going to refute. Then you are going to state your position again. Make it clearer the nature of your disagreement with the argument or position you're refuting. And then and that continues on. You can read this. I'll provide a link for you. And then you have your refutation, which is the specifics of your counter argument. If you challenge the writer's evidence, then you have to present the more recent evidence. If you challenge assumptions that the person has made, that the opposition has made, then you need to explain why those assumptions don't hold up. If your position is that the piece is filled with fallacies, then you need to talk about, present, and explain each of the fallacies that the opposition has made in their line of arguing. So the rebuttal section is a very important part of the argument paper. Yeah, so this argument thing is very well done. It goes through introductions, body paragraphs, and conclusions. So I'll make sure to post this as well as all the other stuff that we already have available, but it takes you through creating a thesis statement, organizing the argument, logic in argumentative writing, the paragraphs and paragraphing, transitions and transitional devices, the body paragraphs, the rebuttal section, which is super important, and then again having a persuasive conclusion where you are kind of having this call to action, right? So that's the Purdue OWL link. And oh, why did I close that? Here we go. And I'm going to copy that link to make sure that I provide it for you. So let me show you chapter 12, which also has information about the how to anticipate and address the competing claims. So it gives you audience profiles, the skeptic, the sympathizer, the unpersuadable, and how to argue with those readers and how to persuade those readers. And then there's a nice chunk of example essay and consider how to integrate competing evidence is chapter 12.3, which is also very helpful. Learning strategies to incorporate the competing evidence, some attack language, your counterclaims, how to go about it. Again, there's lots of examples there. And then I will show you some other resources that I have available. Then there's information about MLA in the appendix, Appendix 1 and Appendix 2. It's the reference section of your book that explains MLA citation, but I also have some lectures on that. They are pretty lengthy. The other resource that I made available for you is this chapter 6 from a text called They Say, I Say, which I've used in other classes. This one is, again, another take on how to address the opposition within your argument, planting a naysayer in your argument. So again, it's not required reading, but it's a resource for you should you need more information. This has been like a humongous information dump this week, and I apologize for that, but there's a lot of stuff that we need to cover. Again, there are lectures on MLA formatting, in-text citations, and works cited. and there's this is based on a Purdue OWL presentation. So I've included that presentation here. I think there's probably some issues with accessibility. So if you need accessible information, then hopefully my videos help a little bit. So there's some short ones on MLA formatting in Google Docs and Microsoft Word. They both, excuse me, they both contain the same information. I don't know why the Word one is a little bit longer. It is, but they're still fairly brief. And then this is actually, I divided it into 2 parts. It took a really long time for me to get through it and explain everything in detail, but this will be a resource that you may want to come back to again, just to get the information in your head. Again, I don't expect you to have this stuff memorized, but I do want you to have access to the information. So there's the first part of the presentation is in-text citations. And then the second one is addressing the works cited page. So those are the lectures. And then I have this mini lecture, which I haven't put up yet. It's still being processed on YouTube, but this one addresses thesis statements, just reviewing the more on thesis statements page that I put up the middle of week 8 last week. And then this link on developing strong thesis statements in case anybody needs it. And then the chapter, They Say, I Say, chapter 6, which is taking forever to open up. It's several pages, but again, if you watch the other videos, we talk about templates, and this book is full of templates for helping you incorporate the counter argument in your own writing. So these templates can be really helpful if you're struggling with how to present the opposition within your argumentative essay. Then we have a discussion board, which will be self and peer review. I figured I'd do this as a discussion board assignment rather than something else. So this discussion board, your initial post of it'll be your self-review of your introduction and thesis statement. Post your title, introductory paragraph, and thesis statement. Highlight your thesis statement and respond to the questions below. So I want you to do a self-review first. That will be your initial post. Answer these questions regarding your title, introduction paragraph, and thesis statement to just make sure that you're on track. And that will be due on Wednesday, the 20th. And then we have the follow-up responses, which I'm trying to get this done quickly so people have at least a little bit of peer feedback before they write their drafts, right? Yeah, rough drafts. So the peer response is due on Friday, the 22nd. Again, for each peer, you'll be required to review 2 peers, I believe, and you will answer these questions based on their writing submission. Okay, and then the final assignment for the week is to compose your research argument rough draft. Remember, this paper is an 8 to 10 page research argument essay. That is not including your works cited page. Okay, so it's 8 to 10 pages of your researched essay. You will use a minimum of 6 good research sources, 2 of which must be academic scholarly journal articles. You all have done a fantastic job of locating scholarly articles, and I know those articles can be really dense and long and hard to read. So I wish you the very best of incorporating those, and hopefully you find them, find information in there that's applicable and will help support your argument. So the requirements here, even for the rough draft, I want you to try to get as close to 8 to 10 pages as you possibly can. not including your works cited page or pages. You need to have 6 sources, so it may go over 1 page, I don't know. Remember that the works cited page starts on a separate page at after the end of your essay. You will have a clear thesis statement that's explicitly stated in the introduction. Your claims and your counter arguments will be supported by sources, and you will integrate quotations, paraphrases, and summaries from 6 sources, 2 of which must be scholarly or academic. You'll follow MLA formatting, so you have those videos to do your MLA citations and your works cited and your formatting all correctly. You will submit the rough draft no later than Sunday, October 24th. Then again, we will be doing another peer review, which will be due Wednesday, October 27th. So make sure that you look at the rubric, which is down here, to help quickly review your assigned peers draft and provide some constructive feedback in the comment section. So the things that I want you to look for in the peer review is formatting, making sure that they have the correct MLA formatting for their paper, making sure that it's organized. There's an introduction, a clear introduction, several body paragraphs, and a conclusion, that the introduction is effective and avoids announcing, I'm going to tell you about statements, that there's a clear and focused thesis statement, that the paragraphs each have one idea and are fully developed. There are obvious transitions that will help move the reader through the essay. That sentences are clear, concise, and direct. There is a conclusion and there's no new information. It's not simply a repeat of the introduction. That you're looking for mechanics, that there's some evidence of proofreading and editing, and that the length, hopefully close to 8 pages at a minimum. So I don't know if I'll do these. I might get rid of the points for your peer revision. Okay. And that is that for week 9. As always, I know it's a lot of information and you're getting to the point of the semester where things are probably getting pretty hectic. We're all of us instructors are like, okay, we need to get more stuff done. We need to get more stuff done. But if you're struggling and you need some more time, please let me know. Reach out to me, email me. I know some of you are still behind because you were sick or, dealing with some life issues. Life tends to get in the way, but I'll try to cut you some slack, but you gotta work with me. So contact me. And if you have any questions, if any of this isn't clear, just reach out to me and ask me a question. I will certainly try to answer it as best as I can and point you in the right direction to where you might be able to find answers. So have a great week, everybody, and hang in there. We'll be done soon. Bye-bye.